Hello and welcome to Nltv News Now. This is Johanna Muri and we'll start with the headlines. Working Committee of Naga National Political Groups hits out at United Democratic Alliance, saying that it appears to be traversing a dangerous uncharted territory in the lines of Naga People's Convention. The Working Committee also raises question over UDA Chief T.R. Zelensky's role as facilitator to impending Indo-Naga political solution. One-day workshop on counter wildlife and biodiversity conservation held in Wokha. Workshop organized under the aegis of Nagaland Forest Department, Wildlife Conservation India and the Nagaland State Biodiversity Board. Naga People's Party expresses its desire on constituting its allies with BJP in Manipur despite the latter virtually shutting the door on it. Meghalaya Chief Minister and NPP President Conrad Sangma to take up the issue with BJP's central leadership. Karnataka High Court on Tuesday dismisses various petitions challenging a ban on hijab in educational institutions. Pronouncing the judgment, a bench of judges comprising Chief Justice Rituraj Aswati, Justice Krishna Dikshit and Justice J.M. Khaji says wearing hijab is not an essential religious practice of Islam. Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine for a straight 3 weeks for barrage of airstrikes in several cities of Ukraine, with the fourth round of peace talks between Russia and Ukraine failing to deliver a breakthrough, both countries to meet again for a parley on Tuesday. Now the news in details. Raising a question over the credibility of the United Democratic Alliance UDA formed last year to facilitate the Naga political solution, the Working Committee of Naga National Political Groups hits out at UDA, saying it appears to be traversing a dangerous uncharted territory in the lines of Naga People's Convention, which was formed in the year 1957. A press release stating that the Working Committee and NPG stated that the NPC achieved in getting statehood for Nagaland after talking to the then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, but not a prominent solution. It also took a dig at the UDA chairman T.R. Zelenskyy for reportedly seeking the highest offer from the government of India and wondering if he is felicitating or doing something else. The committee also said that with each day passing by, Zelensky's media utterances sounds more like a third-party negotiator in the Indo-Naga political talks. Furthermore, the Working Committee also said that UDA, similarly like NPC, is conducting primitive strikes in the corridors of powers in New Delhi, seeking, in their own words, highest offer in the intending Indo-Naga political solution goes against the principle of agreed position. While appreciating the apex tribal bodies, civil society organizations and student bodies for playing a role in the proactive partners in enabling them to initiate political negotiations with the government of India, the Working Committee and NPG stated that the facilitator's role had ended with the conclusion of negotiations in October 2019. Rajya Sabha election is all set to be held on March 31 at a conference hall NLA by members of Nagaland Legislative Assembly to fill the one seat in the Council of States in the retirement of KG Kenye on April 2. Notably, the nomination papers will be delivered by the candidate for his proposer to the returning officer of Assistant Returning Officer at room number 65. Nagaland Legislative Assembly Secretariat between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. one any day other than public holiday, not later than 21st March 2022. Furthermore, forms of nomination papers may be obtained at the place at times of aphrosate, while the nominations paper will be taken up for scrutiny at 12 noon at 22nd March 2022 at the office of the retiring officer. Furthermore, Notice of withdrawal of candidature may be delivered by candidate for its proposed of its election agent who have been authorized in writing by candidates to deliver it on either of the offices specified at his office before 3 p.m. on the 24th March. Skill training of rural youth and organic farming was organized from March 7 to 12 at Community Hall, Konoma Agriculture Technology Management Agency's Kohima District in association with Agriculture Management and Extension Training Institute and National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management organized program. Deputy PD Atma Keviu Shuru and Rokushunyo Angela were the resource person. The resource person gave comprehensive and in-depth teaching inclusive of both theoretical and practical demonstrations. Notably, radish, pea, French beans, and maize where carrots were distributed to the participants. Certificates were also distributed to the participants after the training. The Chief Medical Officer of Longleng informed that the District Medical Board has been constituted for service confirmation, invalidation and commutation pension in respect to the grade 3 and 4 staff of District of Staff postponed under Longleng District. Meanwhile, the next medical exam for the year 2022 is set to be held on June 8, September 7 and November 10 at CMO Chamber. Therefore, all the heads of department have been requested to send their names of the intending candidates. Notably, the first phase of medical boards of year was held on March 11 at the office chamber of CMO. A one-day workshop on counter wildlife and biodiversity conservation was held on March 12th at TE Hall, Woka, Nagaland. Nagaland Forest Department, Wildlife Conservation India and Nagaland State Biodiversity Board organized the workshop. Additional Deputy Commissioner of Woka, Langkonsen T. Tanglao, while addressing the gathering, lauded the department for taking initiative to sanitize and public and further suggested more workshops to be organized, especially in the rural areas, to educate the masses. Notably, topics like community involvement in wildlife, conservation, exploitation of forest resource, wildlife crime, global, national and local scenario drivers, and law enforcement were discussed in the workshop. The newly launched solarless street lights by the state government in the Department of Colonies of Dimapur has witnessed incidents of theft in the recent days. Notably, the Dangan Bosti Women Association took initiative and carried out a survey in the various locations of Dimapur where the solar streets were required. After the survey, the association installed the street lights wherever necessary. It may be mentioned that this initiative was carried out during a pandemic. In a related case, some of the street lights in Dangan Bosti's Lane 2 were reportedly damaged and the batteries were also stolen.
Ito Dangan Women Union burana radide ito street light kunba jaga dito nai ito pura tai khan pirai kina amakhan colony to street light na thaka pura maki union bura ahikina lagai dise aro luktan ase kitia lui jaise ami khan bina chane tala do ami lagaise tala do chwana dosara bora phangi kena loi jaise bishi din bora like na cholai edo bora piche de ahi chai kena saisele nai aro ami edo amar Dangan Union Secretary logo de report korise হলে কি কৰিব না আৰু ৰিপ্লেচ তো দিব নাপাৰিব এনেকা আহি কৈছে এটো পৰা আমি ওলাই কিনা পোষ্ট তো এনেই ৰাখি আছে এটো টাংগান ওমেন ইউনিয়ন পৰা না তাতে এটো ষ্ট্ৰিক লাইক কোনবা
As formation of new government in Manipur has seen some twists and turns of the late following the disclosure of BJP's unwillingness to include National People's Party in the government, NPP has expressed its desire on continuing alliance with the BJP in Manipur dispute, the latter virtually shutting the door on it. On Sunday, talking to media, NPP National Vice President Preston Tyson said that the party's national president and Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma will take up the issue of the party's inclusion in Manipur's ruling coalition with the BJP central leadership. Notably, two other parties, Nagaland People's Front and Janata Dal United, have already committed their support to the BJP, expressing willingness to be a part of the government. For the unreversed, the Nagaland development took an interesting turn off when Manipur CM N. Biren Singh, after the BJP secured the majority by winning 32 out of the 60 seats, said that he thinks not NPP will be with BJP. It is worth mentioning that NPP's relationship with BJP in Manipur has been on rocks for the past 2 years or so, despite NPP being a partner of the BJP in Northeast Democratic Alliance as well as NDA. An earthquake of magnitude 4.1 on the Richter scale jolted on Panjing town in Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh on Tuesday morning. National Center for Seismology took down to Twitter and informed that the epicenter of the quake was located at 215 km north of Panjing. As per NCS, the quake occurred around 2:21 with a latitude of 30.8, longitude of 95.18 and with a depth of 10 kilometers. Meanwhile, further details of the quake are awaited. Karnataka High Court on Tuesday dismissed writ petition filed by Muslim girl students seeking permission to wear hijab in colleges. The court held prescriptions on uniform as reasonable restrictions, saying that wearing of hijab is not an essential religious practice under Islamic and therefore doesn't qualify for protection under Article 25 of the Constitutions. Notably, Section 144 of CRPC is imposed in many parts of Karnataka till March 21. In Bengaluru, Police Commissioner Kamal Pent has issued order prohibiting all gatherings, protests and celebrations in public places from March 15 to 21. BJP's parliamentary party meeting was held on Tuesday at Ambedkar Bhavan in national capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, BJP National President Jagat Prakan Nadda and various other BJP leaders were present in the meeting. Notably, the meeting came days after party won assembly elections in 4 states. Meanwhile, BJP Parliamentary Board has appointed central observers and co-observers for the election of the leaders of the legislative party in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Manipur and Goa Assembly. Several Congress and BJP leaders from Haryana joined the Aam Aadmi Party in the national capital on Monday in the presence of Delhi Health Minister Satinder Jain. Leader who joined AAP included former MLAs, ministers and social activists from the state. Furthermore, Jain, while addressing a press conference on Monday, remarked that people in Haryana are eager to bring Aam Aadmi Party to power. Tata Sons chief N. Chandrasekaran will be the chairman of Air India. His appointment was approved at a board meeting in Delhi on Monday. Central Insurance Corporation formed CMD Elise Vediland will induce the airline boards as independent director. Air India founder J.R.D. Datta remained the airline's chief for decades. After its nation, its currently 3 executive directors were appointed by the government when the airline was in its control are still serving on the board of Air India. The Tata Group took over the airlines on January 27 this year and is yet to announce the reconstituted board of directors. As Russia's invasion of Ukraine enters its 20th day, blast rocks capital Kyiv and more than 4,000 people evacuated from the frontline cities. Russian forces fire on civilians in Kyiv region and residential areas in Kyiv were hit out at least 2 deaths. Meanwhile, talks between the two sides are yet to resume on Tuesday by video conference, according to Ukrainian negotiators in the Kremlin. Both sides hailed progress at earliest rounds aimed at ending the fighting. Furthermore, the Ukraine's Deputy Minister Iryna Vereshchuk informed that more than 4,000 people were evacuated from the frontline Ukrainian cities on Monday. Moreover, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has sought to extend martial law in the country for an additional 30 days from March 24. Also, the United States warns China against coming to Russia's aid in Ukraine. It may be mentioned that the air raid hits Kyiv apartments. On the other hand, nearly 2,200 residents of Ukraine besieged city of Manipur have been killed since hostilities began, raising the death toll by almost 1,000 since Wednesday. Meanwhile, the situation in Russia no good as hundreds held in Russian protest. In addition to Instagram no longer accessible to Russia. A Ukrainian official has claimed that the Russian invasion of Ukraine could possibly be over by early May, as by this time Moscow's forces would have run out of resources. An advisor to the Ukrainian President Chief of Staff Oleksiy Ardivoch made the comments in the video that was shared by Ukrainian media outlets. He noted that the exact timing of the end of conflict would depend on how much resources Russia was willing to commit. However, he warned of a completely crazy scenario, Russia sending new conscripts with a month of training increasingly. He warned that even if its peace deal was achieved, small tactical clashes could possibly remain for a year. On the other hand, as the talks between Ukraine and Russia continues, the Ukraine presidential advisor and negotiator Mihailo Podolyak tweeted that the talks started on Monday and communications between the two sides was hard but ongoing.
Уважаемые белорусы, сегодня Лукашенко в Москве. И именно под это его визит в 14:00 российские самолеты ударили по территории Украины в Ровенской области, сделали петлю и ударили по территории Беларуси, после чего белорусские солдаты радостно колоннами пошли в сторону белорусской границы. У нас есть обращение нашего министра обороны Резникова, и я могу в свою очередь вас...
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has called on Russian troops to surrender in a video addressing posted online early on Tuesday. He said in a translation of his address shared by the office that on behalf of the Ukrainian people, he gives Russian soldiers a chance. Zelenskyy said that if they surrender to Ukrainian forces, they will treat them the way people are supposed to be treated. As people, Zelenskyy also said that he was grateful for Russians who continues to fight Russian disinformation about the war. It is to be mentioned that Zelenskyy's call for surrender was not the first time the Ukrainian government made such a proposal to Russian troops. 2 weeks ago, Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Zelenskyy offered Russian soldier crash and immunity if they surrendered.
Ворог розгублений. Вони не очікували такого опору. Вірили своїй пропаганді, яка десятиліттями бреше про нас. Досі не можуть оговтатись, але вже почали розуміти, що війною вони нічого не досягнуть. Це знають їхні солдати.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy will deliver a virtual address to the United States Congress later this week as U.S. lawmaker pushes President Joe Biden to take further actions amid intensifying Russian attacks on Ukraine. Ukraine will speak on Wednesday to members of the U.S. House of Representatives and U.S. Senate as announced by the Democratic Party leaders. President of the United States Joe Biden on Monday announced to provide Ukraine with weapons to defend against Russia's military operations. Biden took down to Twitter and stated that Americans will allow Ukrainian refugees in the U.S. Biden further mentioned to send money, food and other humanitarian aid to Kyiv to save Ukrainians' lives. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has seemingly challenged Russian President Vladimir Putin for one-on-one fight. Taking to Twitter, Musk challenged Putin to fight with the stakes being Ukraine. The CEO tweeted, "I hereby challenge Vladimir Putin to single combat," using the Russian alphabets to spell Vladimir Putin. It may be mentioned that furthermore, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, had provided Ukraine with internet connectivity throughout company Starlink satellite amid the raging war and started on February 24. Russia has requested both military and financial assistance from China amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. It was reported that Russia has asked assistance from China requesting for pre-packed, non-perishable military food kits, known in the US as meal ready-to-eat or meal. Earlier, it was reported that Russia has asked China for military assistance, including drones, to support its invasion of Ukraine. Following Russia's military operations in Ukraine, the US and its European allies have introduced sanctions targeting several major Russian banks. American intelligence officials have discovered that the barbaric of the ballistic missiles Russia has fired in Ukraine contain decoys that track air defense radars and full heat-seeking missiles. The devices, each about 30 centimeters long, sharp like a dart and white with an orange tail. They are released by the Iskra-M short-range ballistic missiles that Russia is firing from mobile launchers across the border. When the missile senses that it has been targeted by air defense system, each is packed with electronics and produce radio signals to jam off spoof enemy radars attempting to locate the Iskander-M, and contains a heat source to attract incoming missiles powdered by a solid full rocket monitor. The Iskanders can reach target more than 300 kilometers away. Each mobile launchers can have fire two Iskanders before it must be reloaded. Photographs of the dwarf-shaped mountain began circulating on social media 2 weeks ago. Many stumped experts and open-source intelligence analytics mistook them for bomblets for cluster weapons based on their size and shape. Amid the ongoing political turmoil in the country, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Senator Javed Khan announced that the voting for no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Imran Khan is expected to take place after March 27. PTI Senator in his tweet stated that the biggest rally in Pakistan history will take place in Islamabad D Chowk on March 27 in front of Parliament House. Senator also added that the Pakistan PM will give historic speech on March 27. Notably, the opposition had submitted the no-confidence motion in Nation Assembly on March 8. Earlier on Monday, Pakistani Planning and Development Minister Umar Asad Umar also announced the date on rally through his Twitter account and further stated that the world will witness how the people of Pakistan stand their Captain PM Imran for their freedom and sovereignty. India extended their winning streak at home for top 15 Test series as they beat Sri Lanka by 238 runs in the second test of wrapped up in the day-night match in Bengaluru on day 3 and won the 2-test series of 2-0. This is India's fourth straight series whitewash on home turf, and men in blues have pocketed 12 points as part of the World's Test Championship tally, with the tourists chasing a daunting target of 447 for victory after India declared on 303 by 9. Their skippers Dimut Kurnatin battled hard to beating up 14 Test tone 107, but wicket fell regularly and they were bowled out for 208. Ashwin equaled Dale's tallies of 439 Test wickets. Ashwin recently went past Kapil Dev's tally for 434. Jasprit Bumrah's stone with match haul of 8 wickets. Pishby Paint with adjourned the players of series of the brilliant show with a bat as well as behind the stumps for Shreyas Iyer took the player of the match award for the twin half centuries, both innings on a difficult pitch. Thank you for tuning in. For more updates, keep watching Nagaland TV.
Do you dream to become a reporter?
Or want to be a news anchor?
Your dreams can be a reality now.
Grab the chance to serve your state as a journalist.
Send your CV to cvdy365@gmail.com.
Call us at 7099033602. Join